Hey guys, so I have hinted at doing today's video in previous videos of mine, and I've said I'm going to do this review, and I'm finally getting around to doing it now. And today I'm going to be talking about some products that I have shown in previous videos, and they are the Makeup Geek blushes. Now, for those of you who don't know, Makeup Geek used to have blushes as part of her original line, I'm pretty sure. If it wasn't part of her original line, it came soon after. By the time I got interested into buying her blushes, they had kind of been disappearing from the website. And I didn't know why. I didn't know why she was pulling them off of her site. Later I found out that she basically reformulated the already existing shades of her line and then also added new ones. So I have some pre-existing shades that are obviously reformulated, and then I have some of the newer shades that are already part of the new formula as is originally. So I decided, since she had reformulated these products, I would let you guys know what my thoughts are on them, even though you can find tons and tons of reviews on these blushes online. There aren't too many of the reformulated versions, so I figured I would share that with you today. So I have a total of 8 blushes. She has a very big collection on her website, but I only purchased 8. Now, I was always nervous about purchasing Makeup Geek blushes online because I'm still relatively new to blush. Like, I've been wearing it for a while, but I don't really venture out into crazy colors yet, so I didn't know what would suit my skin tone and what wouldn't, what would be too light and not show up on me, or what would be too dark. So I was intimidated because she has such a wide selection of colors. Her collection is very big that I didn't know what would suit me. There's nowhere I can go to physically swatch them in person and see them up against my skin tone. I was just very intimidated and apprehensive about purchasing them because I didn't know what would go with my skin. They actually group them up, and they make it very simple for you to shop online for these products. And I think blush is one of those things that is very difficult to shop for if you can't compare it to your skin in person, because you want to pick the right blush for you. Unless you're going for that very dramatic look, you want it to kind of look natural-ish up against your skin tone. So I definitely appreciate what they did. And basically what they decided to do was they've grouped them up into different skin tones. And they've made suggestions, shade suggestions, for every group of skin tones that, you know, are within the human species. So they start off from the palest of the pale all the way to very deep skin, and they give you suggestions for all of those. That is also another thing I really do like about Makeup Geek, is that they offer a very wide range of products that will suit different people. They give you options that'll flatter everyone, and I think that is just such an awesome thing. And I think Marlena does this because she is a makeup artist and she's also a YouTuber, and she knows that there are so many people out there that love makeup, and it shouldn't matter what their skin tone is. They should have the freedom to look at any makeup line and find anything that'll suit them. And that, unfortunately, is not always the case. The deepest of the deep, most of the time, are not represented within foundation lines or concealers, and, you know, even blushes. Sometimes really dark blushes still won't show up on their skin tone, and I think it's, you know, it's unfair. I do think it's unfair, and I think most brands kind of forget about the really pale girls, especially in foundation shades. There's very few foundation companies that offer foundations that'll, you know, accommodate the palest of the pale and the deepest of the deep. Those two ends of the spectrum are often ignored, but Makeup Geek does a good job at kind of giving everyone options, so that's always really nice to see a makeup brand that appreciates the fact that, you know, humans come in every shape, size, skin color, skin tone. I think everyone needs to remember that. So they start off with porcelain skin, then they move on to fair, then they move on to medium, deep, and that's it. So they end at deep. So I fall more in the fair category all year round, medium more in the summertime. Okay, so I'm going to basically go through all of the 8 blushes that I own, and as I go along, I'm going to be telling you guys how Makeup Geek describes it on their website, and also which skin tone they describe, or they suggest you should pair it with. Make sense? So we're just going to get right into it. So the first one up is Blind Date. It's a really pretty one. It's a very light color. Actually, if I move it like that, you can see it a little better. So this is Blind Date. It's a very light one. So Blind Date is a cantaloupe pink with a matte finish. So Blind Date is part of the Porcelain line, which is the, lightest collection they have. So this is Blind Date. So you can see it's fairly light, but it's still, it adds a nice, light flush of pink to your skin. I would say if you're deeper than Porcelain, you'll have to pack this on a little more. If you're very, very fair, this should work perfectly fine. So it's definitely not my favorite yet, but I feel like the paler I get, I will be reaching for this more often. So the next one up that we have here, oh my god, is Spellbound. And Spellbound I was so excited to get because this one was one of the ones I wanted from her original line. Oh, I should also mention that I don't think Blind Date was part of her original line. I think it was a newer shade she came out with, but Spellbound was part of her original blush line, and I loved this one from the pictures I saw, and it's just a perfect blush, and this is actually my favorite blush, and I knew it would be. This is the one that I reach for on most occasions. I love Spellbound. It's the perfect everyday blush. This is awesome for everyday wear. It's the perfect everyday blush, and it's definitely my go-to. And Spellbound was described, it's a light salmon with a matte finish. So then next up we have Bliss, which was another one that I was interested in from the original line. So this is also a color that was pre-existent in her old range. And Bliss is part of the Porcelain? Yes, it's part of the Porcelain line. So it's a really nice one. It's, I would say this has like zero pink in it. It's more of a peach blush, very peachy and very subtle looking. You look at the pan and you think it's going to be very underwhelming, but surprisingly when I've worn this on my face, it shows up against my skin tone, and I was very shocked by that. So this is one, again, just because they suggest it for porcelain skin, I definitely think that fair or even medium, medium, on the lighter side of medium skin, you guys could pull this off as well. So here you can see what I mean. It's, not as pink as the other ones I showed you. It's very peachy, and Bliss is a true peach with a matte finish. So there we go. They confirmed what I said. Here is Bliss, and you can see what I meant by very little, there's virtually no pink in there. It is very peachy. So I really do like Bliss for that reason, because it doesn't have pink in it. So if I'm ever wearing a smoky eye, I will gravitate towards Bliss because it warms up the skin. And I definitely feel that, especially when you're wearing a smoky eye, you need to warm up your complexion, or else you can kind of look like a raccoon, and the darkness of the eyes kind of washes out the rest of the face. But at the same time, you want the rest of the face to look, alive, but you don't want to clash the eyes. So that's why Bliss is, I think, a perfect color for that, because it warms up your skin without adding too much color to it, but that could sometimes work against the eye look that you created and you spent so much time creating. So I definitely love Bliss for those heavy eye makeup days when I'm wearing a very deep smoky eye. It's definitely one that will give me life back to my face, but not be too pink. So the next one up is Main Squeeze. Main Squeeze is suggested for fair skin, and it is described as a muted coral with a matte finish. So this is Main Squeeze, and to be honest, I don't see much coral to it. It just looks pink to me, but it is a warmer pink. Seeing the word coral shouldn't alarm you. It's very, very light for a coral, and I think that's why I don't see it as a coral, because it is so light. So this one's Main Squeeze. It's a very pretty one, and I would say it's along the same lines as Blind Date, which was the first one I showed you, but Main Squeeze is slightly darker. Hence why they say it's better for fair skin as opposed to porcelain skin. So here it is, up close. So the next one up is Heartthrob, and Heartthrob is a really nice neutral blush that's perfect for every day. It's a very subtle one because it's not too pink. It has a little bit of brown to it. It's a very muted pink, and that's why I think it's really nice for a day where you don't want too much blush and you just kind of want to bring life back to your face because your foundation washed you out. So Heartthrob is part of the, or it's suggested for fair skin tone again, and Heartthrob is a salmon brown with a matte finish. I am on point with these descriptions. I said there was brown in it, yeah. This is a lot more brown than pink. Or, no, it's very pink too, but it does have a strong brown undertone to it. So that's why I think it's perfect for the days where you don't want too much going on your cheeks, because it'll kind of blend in with the bronzer you have on. So it'll make it all cohesive and it won't be too pink. So here it is. This is Heartthrob, and you can see the brown kind of, I mean, it's a brown undertone. It's not very strongly brown, so it's still kind of pink, but it's a nice nudie blush to have on as opposed to just bam in your face pink. So I really do like this one. The next one up is one I was really excited about, and this one is it's suggested for medium skin tones because it's a little darker. So you can see here what I mean. It's more pink than any of the other ones I have shown you so far. But this pink blush is the first one that I've actually fallen in love with, and I think this one is gorgeous. And even though it is geared towards medium skin, if you are fair, you can still pull this off. So I do love that about it. And it is called Valentine. And Valentine, if I can find it, is a bubblegum pink with a matte finish. So like I said, it's pink. It's straight up pink. There's no warmth to it like any of the other ones I've shown you. All the other ones have had a warm undertone. This is just straight up pink, and I love it. This right here is Valentine, and it is darker than a lot of the other ones I have, if not all of them, most of them. And it's a cool tone pink, whereas every other one that I've shown you has a brown or a salmon or a peachy undertone. This is just straight up cool tone pink. So I love it, and I think it's absolutely gorgeous. So we only have two left, and the second to last one is called Secret Admirer, and this one I love. I feel like lots of people would be intimidated by this because this is purple. This is like lavender purple blush, and I feel like lots of people think that that's unwearable for some reason, or it would look odd, but on the skin, guys, it comes off pinkish, like a lavender pink. It has a very strong pink undertone when you warm it up towards your skin or against your skin. So this is not what will come off on your cheek. Like, you're not going to be wearing lilac or lavender purple on your cheek. Don't worry about it. It comes off pinky, so it's wearable for that reason. Now, this is suggested for porcelain skin. However, I think anyone could rock this. I think this is such a beautiful shade, but I would definitely not shy away from it because I think it's beautiful, and it's the most unique one that they offer, in my opinion, in their range. So I love it, and it's very soft too. It's amazing. And Secret Admirer is a light orchid with a matte finish. So that's a better way to describe it. It's an orchid, not a lavender. So because it's an orchid, it has that very strong purple shift to it or undertone, but it still has a pink quality to it that still makes it wearable for blush. So this is Secret Admirer, and you can see the very strong, I mean, this is a very opaque swatch, so you see the purple very apparent through there. So like I said, in the swatch, it comes off quite purple, but trust me, when you get it on the cheeks, it does look a lot more pink than it does in the pan. And I definitely would say that this is a great way to play up your makeup, and I think it's a blush that everyone needs to buy. If you're going to be making an order on Makeup Geek for blushes, you need Secret Admirer at least, because it's the most unique one, and I feel like everyone needs it in their collection for those fun days where they want to play up their blush. Okay, so the last one is Love Letter, and this right here is Love Letter, and this too has a very strong purpley plum undertone to it. However, it is not like Secret Admirer. Secret Admirer is that orchid one. You can see that next to Love Letter, Secret Admirer now looks a lot more pink. So when I was saying before that this does have a pink undertone to it, I wasn't lying. So Love Letter is darker and it's more muted and it's definitely more purple. And this is suggested for fair skin. And Love Letter is a dusty mauve with a matte finish. This one is not my favorite and I've only worn it once. I feel like I'll wear it more in the fall time, but in the summertime, it just wasn't my thing. It wasn't my favorite. I didn't think it did anything for my skin. And like I said, it's for fair skin tone, but this is another one that I think medium skin tone can get away with as well. So here it is, and you can see a very strong purple tone to it. It almost looks like a really like dirty, dusty purple. It's just not my favorite. I'll have to play around with it a little more, but this one is one that was kind of a letdown, not gonna lie. Now, just because I don't like Love Letter doesn't mean that you will not like Love Letter. It's just personal preference. I just felt like the mauve-y purple tone to it. It's so purple that it kind of just sucked the life out of me. But that was probably because I was pairing it with summer makeup. I feel like in the upcoming fall months, this will be a really pretty one to have. So I'll have to play around with it a little more, but I would just say out of all the ones I own, this is my least favorite. It's just not my favorite color, but there's nothing wrong with the formula or the pigmentation, and if you like these kind of colors, it'll work for you and you'll love it. It was just, you know, color preference on my part. So that was it for all of the blushes. I would highly recommend, if you were interested in purchasing these blushes, that you do go on Makeup Geek's website and look at their charts, or not their charts, but their lists and their groupings of different skin tone suggestions, because that'll be a really great guide for you to figure out which ones that you want to purchase. I think the pigmentation is beautiful and the formula is great and they're really, really soft. So I think that as far as like the performance, they are wonderful. As far as color selection, like I said, they have so many to choose from and they really have something for everyone. So I think that these blushes in general are a big hit because anyone can find a color that will suit them and that they like, and then also the formula is consistent like across the board. Blush is very subjective and it's personal preference. Some people love pigmented blushes, others don't. So if you like blushes that still are pigmented, but you can build them up and you don't get too much pigment all at once, because that can be overwhelming to some people, these are the way to go. They're not too pigmented where they're hard to work with and they're hard to sheer out, and you know, they're intimidating to play with because you kind of look like a clown by the end of it, but they're not so sheer that it takes forever to build up. So these are like the perfect middle. I would say that they are the perfect amount of pigment at one, you know, tap into the pan, but they can be built up to full opacity. So yes, I love them. And I do think that they are worth checking out if you haven't checked them out. I'm pretty sure all of you at least own one of them. I'm kind of late to doing this video about the blushes, but yeah, Makeup Geek blushes are awesome, and I would definitely suggest them. So these blushes didn't disappoint, and I'm really happy I picked them up. That is it for today's video. Comment down below if you have any experience with these blushes, or if you're interested in picking some up and you haven't already. I'd be interested in knowing which ones you will be picking up or which ones you already own. And if you liked this video and if you liked anything that was said in this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so before you leave. It's free and you get notified every time I post a new video, and you really would be making my day. Also, all of my links to my social media will be down below in the description box. I have Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. So yeah, guys, I hope you guys have an amazing day wherever you are in the world, whenever you're watching this video. I hope it is a great one. And just a reminder, I post videos twice a week, every Monday and Wednesday. So I will be seeing you guys in my next video on Monday. Bye, guys.